Hello. Back to the Gene Keys, finally. We've got the 63rd Gene Key. I'm on the gift, which is the gift of inquiry. The shadow is doubt. And the Siddhi is truth, reaching the source. So, when the energy of doubt is harnessed cleanly, it becomes the gift of inquiry. Inquiry is about remaining open without finding a definitive answer to life. All pure inquiry is of great service to humanity. So when we doubt things without, I almost want to say identifying with that doubt, without making the doubt fact, that's when we begin to inquire. And then the deeper that you inquire about that thing that you doubted, the more complex it becomes and the more that you learn about it. The 63rd gift is about progression through levels and stages. The continual pressure of doubt fuels the spirit of inquiry, which leads to deeper and deeper levels of understanding. Yeah, because the more that you doubt something and the more that you inquire and research and learn more about it, the more complex and intricate it becomes. And you either start, it either validates your doubt or invalidates your doubt. And I'd even say that the more that you think about it, the more that you find that it's two sides of the same coin, and both perspectives are true depending on where you're coming at it from. Let's see, the more deeply you inquire into anything, the more complex it becomes. What is of prime importance is what you learn through the process. There is one golden rule with the 63rd gift of inquiry. If you inquire deeply enough into anything, you will arrive at the revelation that you, the observer, are intricately bound with that which you observe. This discovery actually heralds the beginning of the end of the logical approach, since it signifies the end of your ability to assess life objectively. Like I just said, it all depends on, your perspective and which angle you're coming at it from. At higher levels of frequency, you begin to enter the holistic domain of synthesis, in which all phenomena are increasingly seen to affect each other. At a certain stage, the gift of inquiry must always lead you back into yourself. I love that. I love that. And to see that connection with the whole, and to see everything outside of you as just an extension of you, you start to, at least for me, I've started to develop a language with the universe in which I can communicate with the actual world around me and that source that's moving through, just in accepting that everything external is a reflection of something that's going on up in here. It is your divine doubt that drives you to follow a spiritual path in the first place. Whether you doubt religion, whether you doubt science, whether you doubt your own reason for existing, in order to find the truth underneath all of that doubt, that is a spiritual path. Even at these higher states of awareness, the primary doubt that has always been with you stubbornly remains. So even whenever you are able to take yourself out of it being all me, and it being more of a holistic view of the world, your doubt is still going to remain there. The doubt about your very own existence. So even as you increase your frequency, you'll still have doubts. That makes sense. Even at these high levels, your inquiry still has its roots subtly in the logical framework of your thinking. But, and it's the greatest but in all creation, all logic must eventually, by its very own nature, cancel itself out. And it's definitely how I see things. Like, you can beat the bush from one side, and there's still another side you've got to come at it from. It's a really short gift, the gift of inquiry. It doesn't even take up a whole 2 pages. It starts here, and it ends here. It's interesting that the more that you inquire about something, you find out, yeah, the more complex it becomes. You find out, the more you inquire about something, you realize that you can inquire about each of the individual somethings that make up that something. And then you can inquire about each of those individual somethings that make up the individual somethings that make up the big something. And it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Turtles all the way down. It is. It's like, you know, the Russian nesting egg dolls or whatever those are called. Like life in the universe and us, it's just that over and over and over again. So the closer that you try to get to the truth of something, you just keep, it's like trying to reach absolute zero. It doesn't exist. In the world of the infinite, things get infinitely smaller and smaller and smaller, but they can't actually disappear. They can get infinitely bigger and bigger and bigger, but they can't actually like break through a barrier because one doesn't exist. I almost feel like this inquiry breaks the glass ceiling within ourselves. It breaks the glass ceiling of doubt. Inquiry breaks this glass ceiling that has been forged out of doubt. Oh, that's a good sentence. The real purpose of doubt is to serve the higher good in an impersonal way. Which would say that like there's a evolutionary benefit to doubt. That those of us who do doubt and inquire into that doubt, that's what changes the structure of the systems that we have in place. And not just like in the framework of today's structure, but in general throughout like all of human history. You know, doubt saves lives in terms of like looking at you know, berries, which are poisonous, which are not. Doubting a leader of a tribe, especially if that leader is only thinking about themselves, then your doubt, assuming that that doubt and that inquiry is focused on the betterment of, you know, life for the entire tribe, then that doubt and that inquiry is leading to like better things. Especially when it's impersonal. It has to be impersonal. As soon as it becomes personal, you're not just inquiring about your doubt, you're seeking to validate your doubts. This new quantum world thus forces your inquiry into a far more subjective territory, that of your inner self. Yeah. As you keep going out with the Russian dolls, you realize you have to go back in to get to the source of it. The farther out that you get, the more that you inquire for truth outside of yourself, the farther away you get from it, because that truth, the core and the source of that truth, is as deep within as you can possibly go, which is no different from going as far out as you can possibly go. They are the same, but as far as experiencing it from your perspective, it'll be easier to find it within. Because the farther that you go within, you almost get rid of all of that external BS. And if you try and seek that truth outside of yourself, now you have to clear out all of that stuff out of the way. Granted, going in, you have to clear all of that stuff out of the way too, but it's easier to clear it out of the way when the only thing you're clearing out is your own stuff. You know, it's like if you aren't happy with where you are in life and you keep like blaming other people and saying that it's on them, you're never going to get to a place that you're happy, because you're constantly like focusing on they need to change, or this part of the situation needs to change and they need to be the one to do it. And like, I don't have a choice in this situation. I'm doing this because fill in the blank. Like, no, you do have a choice. And that choice is going to allow you to, or accepting that it is your choice gives you the accountability to just finally see that it's all within you. That like, you can't wait for those external things to fall into place. You have to like orient yourself. I had a thought the other day that we're all like sleeper cells for the divine, waiting to wake up one day and like actually let that source flow through. But we don't even know. We don't even know we're asleep. We don't even know that we have the potential to be activated in such a profound and life-altering way as that. Ooh, okay, hold on. This gets into a little bit of time. Because the human mind is most comfortable with the concept of logical progression through time, paths such as yoga and tantra have always appealed to most serious seekers and inquirers after truth. The mysterious and hugely paradoxical 63rd city. Let's see. So that's another like important thing to note, I think, is that time isn't linear like we think it is. And some of our doubt about life, the universe, and everything, and existence as a whole, some of our doubt stems from our inability to conceptualize things in a framework outside of linear time. Was that even a real sentence? Because we see things linearly, that cause and effect isn't always, it doesn't always click. So you might doubt things because they don't work in this linear timeline. But if you look at time differently, you know, almost like, see, I described it yesterday, not time in general, but like mental space. But time is almost similar. It's like a ball of yarn all bundled up. And like these strings might be touching each other even though they're years away. And so what you do here affects here even though there's like 13 years in between those two strings. And so you might be, you know, well, I doubt that me making this effort is going to make any difference. But that's what, like, to become, what is it? To become a, what's the word? An expert? Is that it? To become an expert in anything, you just have to practice for like 10 to 15 minutes a day, like consistently. So you might be like, well, it's not even that much. And I doubt that me doing that is going to make any impact on my future. And like that string was touching another string. And it very much could have impacted your future significantly down the line. But because you saw things as being so linear, or it could have even helped you to heal something from the past, you know, like the reason you might not be stepping forward into trying something is because something from your past is holding you back. And like taking that step to just break through that glass ceiling again and choose to do it now instead of holding yourself back can like heal that for that past version of yourself. It can heal that for the inner child. It can, I mean, even heal your relationships with others, because you are no longer, I almost want to say, choosing to be upset at them for allowing yourself to put something off for so long. Yeah. I think I'm going to leave this here. The gift of inquiry. When you doubt anything, sit in silence and take some time to inquire where the source of this doubt is coming from. And through this inquiry of your doubt, eventually we'll make our way to truth, ultimate truth, the source of all things kind of truth, which is the Siddhi. Thanks. I think I'm going to read the Siddhi now so that I can embody, not just inquire. Thank you.